This week, Sky News hosted the first leaders' debate of the election campaign, and it was the most watched forum in the company's history.
About housing affordability, what is the government doing or going to do in the future to make it more effective?
Why has the government not funded 24/7 nurses?
An anti-corruption commission.
Are we going to get rid of the scare campaign?
Why didn't you support turnbacks then?
You weren't proposing then.
No,
you were not proposing.
I'm sorry, we were. It was our policy.
How are you going to help Australians get into electric vehicles?
I've been told to give my son the best future, I should vote Labor.
Jenny and I have been blessed. We've got 2 children that haven't had to go through that.
PM, how is that not a foreign policy failure on this government's watch?
What are you going to do to restore their trust in the democratic process?
There were a lot of really great news moments from that debate, and it reached 312,000 unique viewers on Foxtel and another 197,000 viewers on Sky News Regional, a free-to-air channel. It was also live streamed for free to thousands and thousands of people around Australia on skynews.com.au, on our Facebook page and on news.com.au, which is the biggest news website in the country. But some journalists were seething at the prospect of a Sky News-hosted debate. There were countless of tweets of fury by the classic crazies on Twitter, but one journalist in particular took the cake for spreading fake news about the event. Every journalist knows this person, Ms Meade. She is a snarky online blogger for The Guardian who this week made up an entire story about how no one could watch the debate for free. She wrote, "Tonight's leaders' debate between Scott Morrison and Anthony Albanese is only available to people who have a subscription to Foxtel, news streaming service Flash, or the Courier-Mail. It will be streamed live on the Courier-Mail website as well as on skynews.com.au, both which require a subscription." Well, it was completely false. Skynews.com.au, the website I edit, is a free website with no paywall. And every day we are streaming live press conferences to anyone who wants to watch. Ironically, The Guardian often watches our exclusive interviews when we publish them in full for free and blogs about the things that those politicians say. Well, Meade was told her story was false, but instead of amending her story, she posted this bizarre laughing, crying emoji on Twitter. Professional stuff from The Guardian. So the next day, I tattled on Meade and asked her editor, Lenore Taylor, for a correction. They responded with this. The original blog post was authored by Guardian media correspondent Ms Meade, based on the information she had available. Well, they also said they added a correction at the bottom of the story, but, and this is actually hilarious, they completely got the correction wrong. They wrote, "Correction. After this post was published, it became clear the debate could be watched online via live streams on news.com.au and skynews.com.au, which dropped its subscription requirement for the event." Well, skynews.com.au doesn't require a subscription. Anyone can log on to that now and check that. The subscription requirement for the debate wasn't dropped because it didn't exist. Meade is either a crazy person, doesn't understand how the internet works, or she is so arrogant that she just refuses to say, "My bad, I got it wrong, I'll delete that." She also didn't update the story at all. And this is what you get with The Guardian. These hacks literally gave us a statement admitting they publish details before they are confirmed. You don't make a false assumption based on the information you have available at the time. You find out what the truth is and report that. And if you don't have the information, you don't publish anything. Anything short of that standard means you are lying to your readers and just making stuff up as it goes along. Lenore Taylor should be ashamed of herself for allowing The Guardian's publishing standards to be so poor. And Ms Meade is pathetic for failing to correct the record and allowing misinformation about the democratic debate to spread through social media. Well, Sophie, I know you've been following this one a little bit. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the way that the Guardian did this story. I was gobsmacked when I read it at first because it seemed almost like an intentional effort to drive people away from the debate.
Oh, it was absolutely insane, Jack. And look, the fact that The Guardian had to correct the record and then stuffed up the correction is just ludicrous in itself. And that defence, it's the information I had at the time. I mean, heaven forbid, if every journalist said that, we'd be pushing out whatever we think at a certain point in time and just writing any old rubbish. This is really poor journalism. This seems like there was no actual checking of the situation. Any fool knows that the Sky News website can be accessed by everyone. And to simply put out that it had a subscription that was removed is also false. So I think it's embarrassing journalism. And one that The Guardian, must I say, Jack, who are really quite irrelevant, over there at, as Paul Murray says, the Turnbull Times, they should be doing some fact-checking because they would be the first ones to try and throw News Corp under the bus. But when there's issues in their own editorial departments, they just say, whatever.
It's such a good point. They throw a lot of stones at other journalists. Amanda herself, she's a media writer. She's attacked every journalist in the country before. And this is the standard. This is the standard of her reporting, apparently.
Look, there actually exists in a branch of the media a News Corp derangement syndrome.
Yes.
Now, it's led by Kevin Rudd and Malcolm Turnbull, but a lot of journalists, apparently like this journalist, enjoy. Now, when you're so deranged and so opposed to an entire organisation that we can't ever approve anything, you've then got to find a reason to attack it. Now, I've got to say, not everyone in say, the Nine Media Group, which tend to be left, was against it. I was waiting in the wings to have my weekly talk with Liam Bartlett on 6PR in Perth, and a caller rang him and said, I don't subscribe to Foxtel. How can I watch the debate? And he said, well, it's free online if you go to...
Yep.
Right. So a lot of them knew that it was free and were saying that it was free. So, but obviously the fact that that caller rang and asked the question meant that this kind of scare campaign got going. Can I just say that in the 2019 federal election, Bill Shorten and Scott Morrison said there should be an independent debates commission set up so that no one can complain about this in future. These things get rotated amongst various media outlets and no one can whinge about it. Now, it's never happened, and Scott Morrison said recently it's the Labor Party that's been the blockage to it happening. And I've got to say, in America, where they've got one, the Republican Party has just pulled out. So maybe they don't always work as well as they should. But this is not normal thinking. This is a kind of deranged thinking against News Corp that will not look at the facts and will just say, bad, bad, bad.
Yeah, it was a brilliant debate and they couldn't just say that.
Exactly.
And there was a lot of confusion when Alba was declared the winner as well. They didn't quite know what was going on.